Welcome back. My name is Erika Gregory. I'm the Associate Client Services Manager for HP. You all saw us here last vlog when we talked about profitability, AMD, Microsoft, HP, and Ingram Micro. Today we are going to dive into security. So let's kick it off, Greg. Introduce yourself, please.
Hi, I'm Greg Tchaikovsky. I'm with Microsoft, and I'm here to help talk about Windows 11 Pro security on HP devices running AMD chipsets.
Thanks, Greg. I'm Jen Smerud. I'm with AMD. I manage the HP-AMD relationship in North America, and today I'll talk about what value AMD brings in the HP-AMD Microsoft security story.
And I'm Nancy Bowman. I'm our channel marketing manager for mobile products, and I will be talking about the security that we also bring along with our partners.
Great. Thank you guys so much. So with that, I am going to kick it off to Nancy, where she's going to talk about how sure HP is in the security realm.
We're really sure. We've got lots of sure products in our security story, and we've rebranded all these security products under the branding of HP Wolf Security. So I don't know if you guys, when you start your HP products, because of course you're using HP, right? It will start up when you boot it on and say protected by HP Wolf Security. And what that is again, our branding, so that when you turn on your PC, you know that security is one of the first things you're going to see. And we've got different layers of security, both above the OS, in the OS, and below the OS, that we like to talk about. That's like how we like to divide up the security story and some of the solutions that we've got that target, what's going on in the OS, making sure that some of the firewalls and things that HP brings to the security story stay up and running. And if they're not, we make sure that those policies get back into place. So that's something like in the OS. But fundamentally, where we're at with our security story and what makes us different starts below the OS. We've got what we call our endpoint security controller, and it actually is hidden on our board, sits on the board, you can't find it, but what it will do is it stores a signed off firmware. So a lot of viruses in the security world try to get in at that level before the operating system even starts, and if they do that, that's when they really have control of your product. And they can put in a virus, let it sit there for a while, and then one day turn it on and your environment, your PC, everything is infected. So starting below the OS is really, really important. And this endpoint security controller is what differentiates HP from everybody else and allows us to say that we are still the most secure and manageable PC. Because if it detects a virus, it doesn't just say, oh, by the way, you've got a virus. It will actually self-heal. That's what we call it, self-healing BIOS. So it gets it back to the firmware that is signed off, it's good, and it will inform you that something has happened. So that's where it all kind of starts. But then we work with our partners to integrate everything, from other hardware and operating system. We all work very closely to make sure that all layers of security are covered. And some of the stuff is around processors and what we bring to the table with security and the processors that we put into our products.
Yep.
So Jen, AMD is awesome in that.
Thanks, Nancy. Yeah, so when you think about AMD's role in the whole security story, we provide in AMD Pro Security enterprise-grade security, and we're actually the first x86 chip that is certified on Microsoft Pluton. So we can claim legally that we have the most secure chips, and they're fully integrated into Microsoft's security stack.
Yeah, and Windows 11 security is incredibly critical, and so much is tied to our hardware partners and our silicon partners in that story. So Sure Start and the ability to have a self-healing BIOS was a very nice to have thing in the Windows 10 era. In the Windows 11 era, that sort of hardened BIOS is absolutely necessary. We require Trusted Platform Module 2.0 certifications from all of our BIOS and firmware partners. Without it, you cannot run Windows 11 Pro because the security landscape has gotten so fraught with danger. There's bad actors everywhere at every level, and they're not just targeting enterprises, they're targeting SMBs. And there is a recent study that showed that if an SMB suffers a firmware grade attack, within 6 months, there's a 60% chance that they'll have to close their doors. So it's devastating to them financially. So we want to make sure that we're protecting not only our enterprise, but our SMB customers and clients and partners as well. And Windows 11 Pro looks at things from a chip to cloud. So kind of like a more nuanced version of the at, below, and above the OS story, where first we have to make sure that we have those certifications from our hardware partners in the silicon. Then at the OS level, we want to make sure that our own operating system is as protected as the firmware is. So we do that through something called System Guard. We also take that to the application level to make sure that our applications are protected from one another should one become compromised. We make sure that your digital ID at the identity layer is also secured and encrypted. And then we take that to the cloud as well to make sure that the ecosystem is protected and live patched through things like Microsoft Advanced Threat Protector. And when you think about things in the hybrid workforce era that we're in now, basically we have to make sure that we're being a little bit smarter and more on guard for our customers. So things like smart browsing, making sure that those phishing links are identified before a customer has a chance to link on them or click on them and infect their computer. These are all things that Windows 11 security brings to natively into their environment. And as a result, there is a 58% decrease in security incidents from our partners and customers that are running Windows 11 Pro versus earlier operating systems and older hardware. So there's a case to be made, certainly, for that upgrading for a security standpoint.
I was going to say that's the most important thing. That security is not a conversation that you're having with your end customer. What are you doing? What do you have in place? What's your backup plan? Right. You're missing the boat because security is the number one thing that's going to hurt businesses and stuff like that. So it's an important discussion to have right away with what they're doing and make sure that you're recommending the right hardware to have the best overall experience and keep those viruses and those attacks out. So it's a very, very important conversation to have.
Right, and with that, so HP has invested in a tech support team that is Ingram badged, HP certified, that'll be able to work with the resellers, you all, on what product to use and be able to drive some of those questions about what's your end game, what are you trying to achieve, where are you going. To boot, we also have a technical account manager that is end user facing. So, we have a school district who may need, hey, we need X, Y, and Z taken care of. Where are we going? What system are we using? And then we pull in our resources to be able to say, hey, everyone on a call, reseller, end user, Ingram supports, even AMD, Microsoft support, however the project is, and we create a full solution that gets down to where we need to be. So
it's extremely important, and especially, when you hear about it in the news all the time, whether it's a hospital, the government, schools are a huge target because they can get the information while the students are still young. And believe me, I think a lot of these hackers and stuff, they're very patient.
Yep.
They're very patient. They'll wait so that they can use all this stuff against, in the future. So it's something, I think it's the first conversation you have to have with customers.
Absolutely. Security front of mind with HP, Microsoft, AMD, and Ingram Micro. Stay tuned for our next vlog where not only are we going to dive deeper into security with the actual system, but we're going to unbox the ZBook Firefly G10A.